Hello, good morning. Shalom. Aho. Welcome to Abba's Audio channel. I am your host, Candace, from the tribe of Zebulon. So I'm doing a short video this morning for those that today is their day of rest. I'd like to say Shabbat Shalom. And my husband came to me earlier and he said, "Can I have your attention? I'm wanting to be vulnerable with you." And so he sits down with me over there and he says, "I want to share something." So here is a book that I'll say this first. So since Matt's dad passed away about 3 months ago now, Matt has been going to this type of gathering called Grief Share. And when he goes there, he's learning how to cope with the loss of his dad. And he has a workbook that he's working through right now to help him through this process. And so he sits down with me and he shows me this book here, Emotionally Healthy Spirituality, Expanded Edition, Discipleship that Deeply Changes Your Relationship with God, or Elohim, Creator, the Most High. And so he turns to this page and he starts reading off basically different unhealthy things people do where they unhealthy cope, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So it says here, the following are the top 10 symptoms of emotionally unhealthy spirituality. As the list that begins below is read aloud, put a check mark next to, okay, so it's this, my husband has already done this. But as he read through these, I'm like, oh my goodness. I got some of this stuff going on. So even though he's going through this program called Grief Share to help him through grief, I'm over here and I'm like, my goodness, this explains a lot. So I'll just read through them as they're read here. Number 1 says, using God to run from God. So using our Creator, Elohim, to run from Elohim. And the example they give is, I keep myself busy in church activities to avoid the pain and tension I'm experiencing in my close relationships. The second one says, ignoring the emotions of anger, sadness, and fear. The example says, I am rarely honest with myself and or others about the feelings, hurts, and pains beneath the surface of my life. Then it gets to 3. It says, dying to the wrong thing. So we know there's a verse in the scriptures that says, dying to yourself daily. And dying to like ego, dying to selfishness, dying to the me, myself, and I, it's all about me mindset. But there is a healthy focusing on yourself. And so when I read this, I'm like, what does this have to say? What's this example say? So it says here, example, I tend to deny healthy, God-given desires and pleasures of life, such as friendships, joy, music, beauty, laughter, and nature. At the same time, I find it difficult to die to my self-protectiveness, defensiveness, lack of vulnerability, and judgmentalism. I'm like, wow. So that really spoke to me personally. And then I could read off on all these other ones, but then the one that just really hit me, and I haven't even gone through the rest of the list, but number 6, I'll read this. It says, doing for God instead of being with God. So doing for Creator, Yahweh, Hayah, the Great Spirit, I am. Doing for Creator instead of being with Creator. And I'm like, bam! I'm always feeling, and maybe y'all can relate to this, I'm always feeling like I need to do more for Abba. So doing for Abba instead of just being present. I feel like I need to do more. I want to make a difference in people's lives. That's not a bad desire, but it's a works-based love. Excuse me. A works-based love. And I can totally relate to this. Like, I feel like if I'm not doing something, that I'm not, I guess, valuable. So the example they give here is I tend to evaluate my spirituality based on how much I'm doing for Elohim. And that just, I'm like, my goodness. I mean, that just speaks to me in so many ways, y'all. Let's see what number 7 says. Spiritualizing away conflict. The example they use is I usually miss out on true peace by smoothing over disagreements, burying tensions, and avoiding conflict, rather than disrupting false peace as Jesus did, or Messiah, Yeshua, the great peacekeeper. Number 8, covering over brokenness, weakness, and failure. Example, I have a hard time speaking freely about my weaknesses, failures, and mistakes. I think I can relate with that one too. 9, living without limits. Example, those close to me would say that I often try to do it all or bite off more than I can chew. I really resonate with that. I really do. And actually, I resonate with it so much because it's been almost 2 weeks now. I had a back injury. I was doing it all. I didn't want to wait for Matt. He was out of town at the time. So I was doing all this stuff without him. And I ended up doing it all and biting off more than I could chew. So living without limits. I can really relate to that. And the last one, so there was a list of 10. It says, judging the spiritual journey of others. Example, I often find myself occupied and bothered by the faults of those around me. I recognize and really resonate with that one too. So my husband coming to me and saying, I want to be vulnerable with you, in turn is making me be vulnerable with all y'all that will end up watching this pre-recorded video. I think I need to go through this, but not because I'm grieving someone. Maybe I am grieving, but just not exactly in the same way that Matt is. So, can any of y'all relate with any of these? Share your thoughts and your perspective, and I didn't list off everyone on this list, but there's a lot of things that we go through in this life, and it's important for us to recognize those faults and transform the renewing of our mind, like Romans 12:2 talks about. And when we change this, Our mind, in the ancient Hebrew, this is your resh, your thoughts, your thinking. When you change this, you change all of this around you, your life. If your life hasn't changed much, that means that your mind isn't changing much. So work on yourself. Be the best version of yourself that you can be. Open up those doors. Get rid of those cobwebs that are hiding in those doors. Organize and clean up here. Recognize your faults, because in doing so, you transform your life. So I think I'm going to be reading through this and evaluating my walk, my spirituality with Creator, and seeing if it's healthy or not. And clearly I can see that I've got some things I need to be focusing on. So what do you need to be focusing on? This is a season for us to be still. It's wintertime. Wintertime is a time to hunker down and be still. This is the still season. Be still and know that I am Abba, Yahweh. Abba's with us, and sometimes we just need to be still to think about who we are, what our purpose is, who we are in Creator. It's not apparently about how much we're doing, because works doesn't get us anywhere. It doesn't get us into heaven. You know, I'm reminded of this verse. I don't know where it is right now, but I'm reminded of this verse that says, did we not prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do many mighty works in your name? And then our Messiah declares to them, depart from me, I never knew you. And never knowing someone, that means that you were doing all these works, all these things, and trying to work your way into salvation, if you will. But you didn't know Creator in your heart. You can dress a certain way, you can talk a certain way, you can live a certain lifestyle, but none of that stuff is going to matter unless you have an intimate relationship with Creator, with the Most High, Hayah, Yahweh. That's in here. That has nothing to do with our works out here. That's a heart issue. If you feel that you are needing to do all these things, and I recognize I've been saying a lot lately that I want to do more for Creator. I want to be more for Him. And I want to make a difference in people's lives. And I want to know what that looks like and how I can do that in my own individual walk with Yahweh and His Son, my friend, my master, my my teacher, the great peacekeeper. I want to know how to walk in peace, shalom. And I want to make a difference in people's lives. I want to help the brokenhearted and set people free. I want to make a difference in people's lives. And I'm a worker. I'm a doer. So people that, may watch this, they may be like able to resonate with what I'm saying, and others, may not. But in my own individual life, I want to be out there doing stuff, being busy. Sometimes that busyness is in vain, really, if you think about it. So, what are we doing with our lives? What are we doing with our everyday? Like, me, I want to go out there and help people, but there's a time to be still. And then there's a time to get out there and make it happen. And so I guess I need to be reassessing my relationship with the Most High, making sure that it is not one that's based off of works, but rather is based off of just having a relationship with Abba. And that involves just being with Creator. Creator's right here. He's as close as our breath. Hayah. Abba is our breath, is our life. Abba's with us. When we hear that scripture that says, I'll never leave you nor forsake you, literally, the breath of life is in us. Creator and His Son have always been with us since we were growing in our mother's womb. And all we have to do is acknowledge their presence in our lives, recognizing where all life comes from. Even knowing the book, the Bible as they call it today. Knowing that book doesn't mean you know Creator. Having a relationship with the Most High and His Son is not something about learning and memorizing and works-based knowledge of this world. It's something that happens deep inside of you. I've said this multiple times, but it's worth repeating many times. In the beginning, they did not have a book to worship Creator. A lot of people are worshiping Creator in a book today. They're not worshiping them in here. If we do go to the accounts, the Bible, it wasn't a book. In the beginning, it was the Word. And I break this down, in different videos I've already done, but the book doesn't draw you closer to Abba. It's a tool. It's a weapon. That's why it's called the canon. Cannons can protect as well as destroy. You can have a relationship with the book, or you can have a relationship with the Most High and His Son. One reflects the other. And so if we go to the Bible and we look at the forefathers, as they call them, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they didn't have a book. They worship Creator in spirit and truth. They know Creator in here. They heard His voice. They lived their lives not according to rules in a book. So that might be hard for some to understand, but the Bible is compiled of people's own testimonies of their relationship with the Great Spirit, I Am, Hayah, and Chief Shiloh, Great Peacekeeper. Some people call him Jesus. I like the Hebrew names. I say Yahusha, Yeshua. But the point is that the word Debar has always been here from the beginning. And it has to do with the word being written here. And all of Abba's people and all these different accounts that we read and the different letters that we read that are compiled into what we know as our Bibles today, they were testimonies of their own individual walk with the Most High. And using those testimonies, other people's own accounts, to determine the way you should walk in life, that means that you're literally using someone else's story to determine your walk. Our stories are not founded on other people's lives. Our stories start right here. So what does your story say? What does my story say? Because we have our own books that are being written right now. Just because they haven't been compiled into what we call a Bible today doesn't mean our lives don't matter. Every word we speak every day that we awake, every deed that we do, every thought that we think, it's all being recorded in our DNA, which is where Creator's name resides. Abba is in us. Our DNA code is the existence of Creator, revealed right within us children. So, what is your identity? Identity, as I like to call it. Abba had shown me the word identity reveals Eden within it. So what's your identity? Can you identify with any of this that I'm sharing this morning? On this beautiful Shabbat day, it is very beautiful. I was actually surprised at the temperature here in West Georgia. It's lovely. The kuf, the sun rays are beaming through the windows. It's just a very peaceful morning. So can any of y'all identify with what I'm sharing here? What's your thoughts? We need to make sure that our identity is between us and Creator, not us and this Bible, this book that we read. There's a major difference within knowing the book or knowing Creator within you. Because your book is being written. What does your book say? Are you following traditions and teachings of man? Or are you following the walk that Creator has planned for you individually? You see my sign up there on the wall? I got a couple of them there, but I'm talking about the wooden one. It's Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you hope and a future. Abba's got his own plans for us individually, plans to give us all hope and a future. Find out what plans Abba has for you, because no one can show us how to walk in spirit and truth but Creator. Knowing the book won't teach us how to walk with Elohim, with Yahweh, with the Great Spirit. This is where we all have to work out our own salvation through fear and trembling. We have to explore and discover our own walk, not based off of doctrines, but based on our own individual walk. So who are you? Who are you in Creator and the Great Spirit I Am? What is your identity? What do you identify with? Because even for myself, who Creator has shown me, what tribe I come from, the tribe of Zebulon. That's revealed right in the book, right in Genesis chapter 49, verse 13, is where Zebulon was shown his identity. So the book does help in discovering who we are. It is a source of knowledge, but it's not the source. So in my personal walk, I have recognized that when Creator speaks to Candace Kendake, the words that are spoken help me know who I am in Creator. And in many times, then I am looking at the book, I'm researching, I'm breaking down what's underneath the English translations, because in many cases, there is truth in the scriptures. However, in many cases, there's a lot that has been replaced, has been taken away from, because of the transliteration that has happened and the dozens of times that the Bible has been translated into all these different languages. It is a weapon for people to be controlled by. When you get back to the original source, which were pictures, petroglyphs, pictographs, it speaks of our lives. And those pictures have different models, different understandings. People are familiar with this verse that says, or not this verse, this phrase we use in our culture today. It goes, a picture speaks 1,000 words. Literally, it does. That's why all the pictographs make some people very uncomfortable, because a picture can say many different things to many different people. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. So when you use these pictures and then you replace them with words, they muddy their original understanding. And that's where, if you want to have a relationship with our Maker, you can't base that off of your own understanding of the English translations, because that's not what the word was originally written in. So, who are you? Who are you? Who am I? What's your life's purpose? Because if you only can identify with the scriptures, the Bible, but you have no individual relationship between yourself and Creator, you've missed the whole point. It's not based off of works. It's not based off of knowledge. He says, come to me as little children. Children don't have all this knowledge. They don't even know how to read. You realize that? Children don't know how to read. They read their surroundings. What did they first do when they first start to learn? Do they start writing sentences in the languages that we speak today? No. They draw pictures. They draw the pictographs. They literally draw the first language of Creator before ever learning any of these other Babylonian languages we speak today. So be as a little child. You don't have to know how to read. You just have to know Creator inside of you. Little children are so innocent and pure and lovely. Who are you in Creator? Find out who you are. Don't use the Bible or the books or any source in this realm to determine who you are. Because there's no one else alive who is more youer than you. You're special and unique because you have been made in this time and this generation for a purpose. You can't find that purpose in a book. That purpose comes from your own individual walk with Creator. Remove all the distractions in your life and find out where you need to transform your mind in order to be in tune with the voice of the Most High Yahweh, because that's what's going to save you in this life. That's what's going to give you purpose. All right, so I hope y'all enjoyed this video today, and go outside, sit in the grass, talk to Creator, say, I love you. Can you show me who I am? Thank Creator for the wind that's blowing through your hair, for the trees that have no leaves on them right now, for those leaves have fallen and become part of the ground again. Thank Creator for the birds that are flying and landing in the branches above. Thank Creator for the stillness and the quietness. Thank Creator for a roof over your head, for taking care of your basic needs of food, water, sustenance. Thank Creator for what you have in your house. Like there's that propane heater. Until we got the heater fixed, the gas heater in this house. Yesterday, this right here was the heater we had. And sometimes it chose not to work. That was interesting. But then we have, look, the stove. Or I'm sorry, not the stove, but the fireplace. I really like the fireplace because it doesn't involve paying money to this system that we live in today. All you gotta do is go chop down a tree, cut up that wood, or go into the woods and find branches. I like the old way. Thank Creator for the indoor plumbing that you have in your house, the water that you use to wash your dishes, and the heat. This is a model of Shin and Mem, fire and water coming together, working together as a team. Thank Creator for the Shin and the Mem, the fire and the water that pours down on you to clean you in the shower when you get into it. Thank Creator for your vehicle. I got good news recently. It's interesting how the enemy will attempt to get in there and make you worry and fear and have, negative type of thoughts. That's the resh. That's your mind. That this is where the enemy wants to destroy you. I had a lot of peace of mind yesterday. We got a lot of things accomplished. And I was thanking Creator Yahweh Hayah, Abba Father Yahweh. I was thanking him because some months back we took Red Ruby, that's the van, my red van I got right now. We were told that the reservoir for the rack and pinion on the van was cracked or it was leaking and it needed to be replaced right away. And the guy says, oh, it's just sieving out, it's just, and come to find out that's not true. That wasn't accurate. The guy was like freaking out, like making it seem like, oh my goodness, we need to get this fixed. And we had went to several different places getting different opinions. And I found a place yesterday that I was referred to by some family. I'm not taking my vehicle anywhere else but this place. I literally had confirmation that this is where I was supposed to go by Abba when I went there. And I was so thankful and grateful. Because the guy, he put the van up on, the rack. And he said, come here, let me show you what's going on. That is wonderful. Wonderful when somebody wants you to see something so they're not trying to take advantage of you. So he's got it up on the rack and I go underneath. He's like, see this right here? Your rack and pinion is leaking. He said, but if it's not leaking too bad, you don't need to replace it. He says, just pay attention to the power steering fluid. And he says, if you start hearing, issues when you're turning, then, that's when you probably need to get on it. He says, but right now, just pay attention in the rack and pinion, the fluid, and in other words, for the power steering. If you need to fill that up, just pay attention to that. But he didn't say that something bad was going to happen. He didn't say that, I needed to have this replaced right away. He said, just pay attention to it. The other guy was making us feel like, oh my goodness, this is an emergency. So we're going on a trip on Sunday to go visit some friends that live in Maine. And they, I guess, come down to this portion of America this time of year. And so we're going to go visit them. And I was concerned that the van might not make it or something bad would happen, on the way. And I got confirmation yesterday that everything's all right. No need for concern. He looked at the brakes. He said the brake pads are good. He looked at the tires. This guy just gave me so much peace of mind. It was wonderful. So thank Creator for the circumstances. See, I'm sharing my life with you. This is part of my book. Thank Creator for your circumstances. What's going on? Don't live in fear. Don't look at life as, oh, this just happened. Oh, I had a crappy day. Don't look at life like that. Look at life as, thank you, Creator, for my circumstances. Teach me what I can learn from them. Help me to put my trust in you. That's what we all need to do, y'all. Thank Creator for your life. And ask Creator to show you how to live your life. Not based off of anyone else's life. Okay? You have your own walk with Creator. What does that look like? Because if you're piggybacking on what everybody else is doing, if you're using the book to be your identity, then you have no understanding of self and who you are in Creator. This is how we heal. When we know who we are, when we see the dark parts of ourselves. Okay? When we see the dark parts of ourselves, we acknowledge them, we recognize them. Then we see Creator and be like, Abba, can you help me with these areas that I'm weak in? Be vulnerable. Bare your heart. Recognize those dark parts. Don't cripple yourself thinking you're just worthless and unworthy. I've done that. So that's why I'm saying that. Recognize that you're broken, but all things can be glued back together. Even a broken pot, that's what we are. We're broken, fragmented pot pieces, if you will, that are scattered to the four winds. We all have a purpose and a place in this time. It's not by mistake that you're here. Maybe you're watching this video, or maybe you'll watch it in the future at some point. But you're here for a reason and a season. Find out who you are. Find out what Creator thinks of you. Don't make life so complicated. I say that because I do. There's so much going on up here in my resh, my mind. There's so much I feel like I lack in, rather than just being Candace. Being still. Recognizing who I am. Who I am. Hayah. I am that I am. Hayah Asher Hayah. We need to find out who we are, which is part of our identity. All right. Well, I am going to spend some time with Creator. What are you going to do today? Be as little children. Just be present. Shalom, Havarim. Blessings to you. Mitakuye Oyasin. That's Lakota for we are all related. We are all family. And we are. Go out there and be you. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. There is no one alive who is like you, nor will there ever be.